In a whole host of instances, and the Torah describes where and when that is so, a person is to be administered lashes. And we, with Western mentality, say, how cruel, how terrible. What do we offer as alternative? Prison. And here is where I would like to clarify something where our thinking differs so significantly from Torah thought. The Torah says lashes because that is going to teach somebody something immediately. Do you know that our bodies have a remarkable system of learning what is wrong and what is right? We're not supposed to touch a hot stove. We're not supposed to put our hands into fire. When we do, what happens? Immediately you put your hand in the fire, you withdraw it because it hurts. And when it hurts, you have learned a message. It's called stimulus response. The body knows that. The problem with prison is twofold. Usually, by the time a person is sent to prison, he forgets what for. I'm not being facetious. I mean, there is so much of a time period between the crime and the punishment that they're not linked directly. A person feels he can get away with it for a long time. Eventually, he may be sentenced, but it is not immediate, and hence it is not a stimulus response kind of learning experience. Penologists today say there is too much uncertainty as to whether a person will be sent to jail, and there is no direct link, no time link for it to be effective. Do you know that with regard to children, there is a remarkable law in halakha? You are never allowed to say to your child, you did something terrible, wait until daddy gets home, he'll punish you. Not just because you're saying wait until daddy, and daddy is the one who's going to become the disciplinarian, but because too much time has elapsed between the crime, the bad thing that was done, to the patch. And the kid doesn't understand. I don't know why. At 10 o'clock at night I'm being slapped. What did I do to deserve this? They're not together one with another. Malkut must be immediate. Malkut must be given right away. And after Malkut, the person is to be treated as if he is now a regular member of society who has done no wrong because he has paid his punishment. Prison, one can languish for years, but with regard to Malkut, it says, V'nikla achicha li'einecha, and your brother shall be demeaned to your eyes. Watch this. Achicha, your brother. It could simply have said, and he shall be demeaned before your eyes. Why do we call him your brother? Because once he has paid for his crime by receiving the lashes, he is to be considered your brother. He is now back in the fold. Achicha in Gematria, I love Gematria, is 1 and 8 and 10 and 20, and the total is 39. Do you know how many lashes are administered in that punishment of Malkut? 39 lashes. But I'd like to discuss something with you, and this is very crucial and very interesting. The Torah, when it tells us this punishment, says 40 lashes. Mispar Arboim. And yet, oral law says 39. Isn't that strange? Why do we do 39 instead of 40? Well, the answer is tradition. The answer is that's what oral law teaches us. That's not good enough. I'd like to know why the text says 40 and then why we do 39. Could you tell me, what does the number 40 refer to usually symbolically throughout the Torah? Can you think of any incidents in the Torah where 40 is significant? Yes.
Noah, the rain for 40 days and 40 nights.
The rains, 40 days and 40 nights. And what did that do? In 40 days and 40 nights, let's identify clearly, there was a change in the world. Evil had to be removed, and it was a different world. 40. What else? You had another possibility?
Moses on Har Sinai.
Moses on Mount Sinai. Moses went up to Mount Sinai and he was there for 40 days and 40 nights. I want to emphasize the key to that experience, and that is how he became changed and found the vehicle for changing the Jewish people. 40 days and 40 nights. What else can you think of?
I would say there was 40 years in the desert after the Chet Amaraglim.
After the sin of the spies, they were in the desert for 40 years.
40.
I want to again clarify conceptually what that means. They had to create a new generation because the old generation obviously wasn't ready for freedom and for entry into Israel. We had to wait 40 until we had a change and a new people. The old died and the new were born. But I want to get to an even more fundamental one. I wonder if any of you can recall a 40 that has to do with birth itself.
40 days or before a child is born, I think God is saying to who is married, to who is going to marry.
Yes. 40 days before Yetzirat Havlad, a bat kol, a heavenly voice, goes forth and proclaims so-and-so to so-and-so. But the reason for that is because in the first 40 days, we say a child isn't a child. It's not even a fetus yet. It's mayim b'alma. It's just water. I know that we're opposed to abortion, terribly opposed to abortion. But there are times when it is permitted. We won't go into details now because it's a lengthy issue. We are far more lenient in the first 40 days because in the first 40 days it isn't human yet. It takes 40 days to create a fetus. 40. Interesting. 40 creates something that is new and viable. 40 creates life. Just a moment. What is the key to life? Both science teaches us this and the Jewish religion teaches us this. What is the key to life? You can't have life without... Yes.
Water?
Water. Water. Water is the key to life. Mayim chayim. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, but letters are also words. The word mayim is a letter. And the letter is mem. And mem is a number. 40. When you want to change your life and become a convert, you have to go into mayim, water. How much water must you go into? 40 saw. That's a measurement, a liquid measurement. 40. 40 keeps appearing as the number, and what you see as the constant thread that unites all these illustrations that I've given you. 40 is a change, a new kind of life. After the flood, a new kind of existence. Moshe Rabbeinu, Torah, new existence, fetus, life. I understand that now. And what are we trying to do? When we take a person who committed a terrible crime and we give him lashes, we want to change him, give him a new life, allow him to become a tzaddik, a righteous person. And so, the number that is given is 40, yes, but we don't give 40, so I've answered part of the question, but I haven't really answered it because we still have a problem. We give him 39. But Tzalal, you have a question.
Yes, I would like to ask why they're giving 39 Malchus and not 40.
That's a wonderful question if the key, as we're saying now, is the number 40. Let's jump for a moment to another area where we find 40, but actually the 40 becoming 39. We know that on Shabbat there are a number of things that we are forbidden to do. They are creative acts. We are not permitted to create because God created and rested on the seventh day. We too are to rest and not do new creative acts. How many things are we forbidden to do on Shabbat? How many malachot, works, creative acts, are forbidden on Seth?
39.
39 is the correct answer. But what is fascinating is that when the Talmud gives us the answer, it doesn't say 39, it says
40 minus 1.
40 minus 1. How peculiar. If the correct answer is 39, why doesn't it say 39? Again, using the number 40, but bringing it down to 39, just as we find in Malkut. There must be a link, and I'll tell you what it is. God created the world with many acts. The first one, however, was unique because before God formed things, initially he had to create yesh me'ayin, something out of nothing. He had to do an act of creation which no man, no human being can duplicate. We can't really create. All we can do is take things that already exist and reshape them, form them, turn them into something else. But we can't create. Only God can create. God's 40 represent one act of creation and 39 acts of formation. When we, as human beings, are told that we are not permitted to do work on Shabbat, what that means is we cannot do Arba'im 40 minus 1, minus the initial one that God did, which we cannot do simply because it is impossible for us to do. We can't create. The other acts of formation are the ones that we might do on the Sabbath, and they are forbidden to us. Let's apply that now to the category of Malchus, and I want to show you something absolutely fascinating. What you're trying to do is to change a person. Change is 40. Change him because he has gone astray, because his body has acted in a way that is reprehensible. You have to change almost everything about him except one part of a human being which, just like in the creation story, came from God vis-a-vis the world. Only God can create and do the initial aspect of what there is in the world, yesh me'ayin, something out of nothing. Only God can create a neshama, a soul. And that soul surely did not sin. It was the person who distorted his inner essence who committed a crime. And you know what you therefore have to correct, fix out of the 40? 40 minus 1. Don't fix the neshama. The neshama itself, its core, your essence is pure and holy. It was perverted with the other 39 aspects of further development. That's a remarkable concept. Now, I said to you that we have Malkut, but we don't have prison. I gave you some reasons, and the book has some reasons why. Prison is not an acceptable option. But I want to explain one more idea which I didn't have an opportunity to develop in the text. You know what the first mitzvah is that is given to the Jewish people? I don't mean to an individual Jew, that would be Abraham. I mean to Jewish people as a nation. The mitzvah is HaChodesh Hazeh Lochem Rosh Chodashim. It is chapter 12 in the book of Shemot, Exodus. God says, this month is to you the first of months. Implicit in that law is something deeper. HaChodesh Hazeh Lochem. This month is to you. You are to determine when a month is a month. The way in which we decided when to start Rosh Chodesh, the beginning of a month, was via witnesses who came. And they testified we saw the new moon. If they didn't come to court, even if we saw it, it's not Rosh Chodesh. What is the significance of that? But reality is reality. Our sages teach us there is a fantastic concept here. Time is to be determined by us. We are to control time. HaChodesh Hazeh Lochem. This month is to you. To you it is given. You are to determine time, and time is not to control you. Something for a moment. I would like this to be an item of discussion. You are to control time. Time is not to control you. Do you recognize how all-important that principle is? You are the master of your time. Time doesn't control you, but you control time. You determine what you do with your life. Do you know that the most important thing in your life, the only thing that is irreplaceable, not your car and not your money, the only thing that is irreplaceable is time. Who is master over time? People who say, well, I don't have the time. Make the time, I can't make the time. That means time controls them. The very first mitzvah given to the Jewish people is HaChodesh Hazeh Lochem. You are to indicate that you determine and define time. You are in control of your time. That means you're in control of your life. You're in control of your destiny. Time belongs to you, not the reverse. When the Jews were slaves, what was that problem? What was the problem of Egypt? You will say to me they had to work hard. I know many people who work hard. People are exhausted all over the world. The United States today suffers from exhaustion, physical exhaustion. That wasn't the problem. That's not what creates a slave. When God was about to take the Jews out of slavery, he explained to us what their real crime of slavery was. It wasn't that you had to do work for somebody. It was that you weren't in control of your own time. Realize that on the eve of the Jewish people being taken out of the slavery of Egypt, they were given a mitzvah, the very first mitzvah, which said to them, I want you to be free men, I want you to be free people, and therefore time is to belong to you. You control time and not the reverse. That's the significance for HaChodesh HaZelachem being the very first mitzvah given to the Jews as they were going to depart from Egypt. You're not going to be slaves any longer. Not you're not going to work hard. We still work hard. You will determine how you spend your time. You decide to spend your time by listening to a lecture and by learning Torah, and you can find the time, then you control your time. If you can't find the time, you just don't have the time. It means your life is not your own. That's the most crucial mitzvah there is, the first mitzvah to the Jewish people. Jail is too severe a punishment. We give Malchus, we don't send someone to prison. Isn't that interesting? And the Western mind says, but how can you be so cruel? Why don't you send them to jail? And we say, how could you be so cruel and send them to jail and deprive him of time? Hit him and teach him, perhaps, but not remove a person from that which is most precious and irreplaceable. The only thing in life that we have that can't be replaced, and that is time. What a magnificent concept. And so therefore, Malkut is preferable to prison, although it doesn't seem to be so for Western mentality.
What about those individuals that are dangerous to society, where you would now want them to move around freely because they might kill someone and hurt someone?
Granted, obviously, Jewish law recognizes that fear and that problem, and that is taken care of, but there, the prison sentence is not to be viewed as punishment per se. You may have to remove someone from society to protect others, but you can't punish someone by saying, we give you 10 years. Really? 10 years? What do you give me 10 years? You deprive me of 10 years. There is no such thing in Judaism.